Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I just realized I don't have my audio coming through my earpiece.
Uh-oh.
So I need to get that set up.
Okay. We don't want any bad feedback.
Hey, got it fixed. Okay, so tonight, this is my topic. There has been a lot of division and drama in the interwebs, in our corner of the interwebs. It's kind of the red pill area, the red pill adjacent. There's been a lot, well, over the last few months, there's been a lot of attacks and disagreement and trashing of the red pill. And so I thought we should go through what the red pill is. And, we talked about it, the three of us. Oh, should we rebrand ourselves red pill adjacent or move away to something else? No, we decided no, we're going to stay red pill because red pill is not anti Christian, it's not pro promiscuity, but that's how we're painted. Now, Christians need to be in these spaces to fight back. We can't just withdraw from every space once there's criticism. We have to be present to put our points of view, our worldview, our pushback, and we need to be in these spaces. If we keep abandoning all the spaces where some other Christian criticizes you for being, you're just going to withdraw and you're going to be in this tiny enclave and you're going to have no impact on society. And you know what? Then they're going to come for you too.
Yep.
I go ahead, Nick.
I said, well, I've seen this many times. Oh, this thing doesn't completely align with my views. So instead of engaging, I'm just gonna go join a smaller band of more pure analysis, and usually the analysis goes down, and then they just start fighting over theology. No, not to say fighting over theology is bad, but it's a constant withdrawal,
right,
and less impact.
Well, the other thing is we in the red pill, we understand female nature. That is one of the core sort of teachings of the red pill is how to teach female, nature and all of that. Okay. Do you think that the feminists are crying over what we're doing to ourselves right now? Honestly, guys?
No.
Or do you think they're... Go ahead.
Not what we're doing to ourselves, but they are crying that we're leaving the playing field.
Yeah, it is a little sad to see a decent enemy leave, isn't it? It's like now
where are all the good men? Why are no men asking me out? They got this belief that they're going to find this wonderful man because they either played around and now they're looking for that man, or they divorced what was probably a decent man, and I'll just find another one. Well, gee, the men are not interested, and young men are pretty much avoiding commitments, avoiding women, and it just keeps spiraling and escalating. After the Me Too movement, things have only got worse. So men are begrudgingly saying, yeah, damn, I really like women, but they're more trouble than they're worth. And so, and it's dangerous. It's risky. I'm just not going there.
Well, okay. And so we have all this division and these sniper shots and these attacks being launched at, by internecine warfare amongst the red pill. Do you think that's going to drive disaffected men to the red pill or to the black pill?
No, because you sounded a little black pill there, Steve.
I have my black pill days.
Well, I think everyone in the red pill does, but the black pill is a fundamentally different view of life. The red pill says, at least my understanding of it is, here is how you understand women so that you can actually interoperate with them. The black pill sort of takes a view of, nah, we're not even going to bother trying to work with them or understand them. They're all just completely beyond retrieve. And we're just going to go over here and take our marbles and go pout, basically. Strong men don't pout. That's what weak men do. So, but trashing the red pill isn't going to make strong men. It's just not. So, Steve.
Okay. Well, our first clip, we're going to play something from Glenn Lawrence. And this is about 10 minutes. I don't know if we'll play all of it, but it kind of illustrates that, well, this came from a stream with Grid 1. And Grid 1 he doesn't disagree with a lot of the points of the red pill, but he adamantly disagrees with the red pill. So this is Glenn's response. Do you want to cue that one up?
And so this is why I think that Andrew Wilson refutes being red pill, and I hear quite often Glenn Lawrence refute being red pill. And it just I've always, but these guys are like, they're like, red pill saves us, red pill's going to save this, and red pill's going to do that, and red pill. And as much as I would like it to be that easy and true, I just don't see how they reconcile it. And then of course he left, and now I will have to wait till next time. But go ahead, Glenn. I know that you're chomping at the bit.
Sorry.
Chomping. Maybe not.
Okay, class, are we ready? No, Glenn's here.
Oh boy.
This is the thing, class. The best thing I can say about Red Pill is this. Red Pill did a great job at the descriptors of the problem. They were able to point out the problem. They made light. They brought, the problem that men face out. And, we all can agree that, men are having problems with women when it comes to dating or, even marriage. They point out the flaws in our divorce court that many men are suffering from. And when they say that marriage is a trap, or they wouldn't advise men to get married, they base it on some pretty irrefutable facts, right? They take the information that is made readily aware through science, like Dr. Marty Hazelton, Dr. Buss, right? David Buss. And they say, hey, if women are behaving this way, and men are behaving this way, and these are the problems that we're seeing here, maybe it's because we have told guys that women are sweet and nice and everything sugar and spice and all that stuff, and that's not the true. So what they have done, what?
I'm kidding.
And so what they have done is they have pointed out fundamentally what are the problems that our men are facing, and one of them is how feminism is, right? I don't hear any Christians, very rarely do I hear Christian pastors, and I can say this, I have never heard a Christian pastor before the red pill go out and say that feminism is the problem. Okay. So now we realize that feminism is the problem. The red pill did great at providing the descriptors to the problems men face.
You know what?
Where
think
I
that's
have
enough.
a problem with the red pill is not the descriptors.
What'd you say,
I
Steve?
am in a line.
That's enough. Let's cut it off there.
Okay.
I mean, he goes on. It's not that the rest of what he says is invalid, but I just realized he's already wrong about his take on things. They did a great job with the descriptors. And he's going to go on to say, well, it's the prescriptions that are the problem. Well, that's perception. I think towards the end of the stream, I will point out that it's the descriptors that it's the problem. Not that the descriptors are wrong, it's that no one wants to accept those harsh truths. So, we'll get into this and we'll explore everything that Glenn was going to say. But the point is, the other point of that stream was, okay, there was pushback on the red pill, and Glenn countered that. So now let's play the one by Rollo. This was only like 20, 25 seconds.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to switch tabs. So here we go.
Where like Mike Sartain will be broadcasting Access Vegas Live, and I will be as well. But we are now going to our exclusive Rumble channel for those shows, and because we're under a lot of scrutiny right now, especially this the manosphere, the red pill, whatever we want to call it right now. I'm almost ready to move away from the term red pill. But I don't know how I would ever possibly be able to do something like that. I'm Rollo Tomasi. I am the author of The Rational Male. I am the...
Okay.
Well, there's a lot of pressure to get away from red pill on like every front, isn't there?
Yeah,
there
is.
We felt it. I felt
a lot.
Yeah.
We did, yeah. Oh, and we thought about it.
Nah, we said we'll own it. But we'll
Well,
still be
yeah, we
Christians.
looked at the
We're primarily
alternatives,
Christians, yeah. But we are red pill.
and okay, for my thinking was, okay, yeah, I could move away from red pill, but where else would I go? I couldn't answer that question. Well, where else am I gonna go?
Steve, you need to go to the
I can
black
do the
pill.
same thing. No, I still kind of like women. I just don't have a woman in my life right now.
Oh, okay. So the black pill is not a great place for men who actually still want to talk to women.
I think it's a code.
Yeah.
A
If you
cult.
wanna
Oh, that's a
move
good
in-
word.
If you want to move to a monastery where it's all men and that's your focus, okay, go ahead, take the black pill. But otherwise, women, God created us male and female. So, women have something that we like.
Yeah.
Probably something men need.
Hey,
And okay, I still accept that.
man should take delight in his wife. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. It's a good thing to aspire to. But what's the problem?
Steve's reading his notes.
I'm just trying to pull my notes up if I can figure out how to do that.
We haven't really defined red pill, have we?
But
okay,
okay,
so red pill exists because the old order's dead?
Well, what brought about the red pill? it started from the manosphere. Men generally being frustrated at not being able to understand women and what was going on with them. It stemmed from two areas. Men young men who went to college are the nice guys who got the degree, are working hard, treat women well, and they were just ignored by women. I mean, try and get a good woman, and I'm just a reliable, hardworking guy with a good future. You believed that was enough. Well, as it turns out, not really. Maybe as you gained a little bit of success after college, okay, yeah, now they started to pay attention. But a lot of times it was you and they were in your late 20s. And you thought, oh, I got a woman. Not perfect, but okay, this is what it is. You didn't realize that they changed their priorities because they were getting close to hitting the wall. So now, or fertility, I mean, that's red pill terms, their fertility was declining. So instead of seeking fun, okay, now it's time to get serious. And so they marry one of these good, nice guys who's a good provider. But nah, he's not exciting. And a lot of times that ended up in divorce or in a sexless marriage or in all kinds of. So you had those men wondering, what happened here? Why did this happen to me? Okay, so that's the second lesson. The first lesson was, how do I get a woman? They're really not interested in me. The second lesson was, oh, I got a woman and now I'm unhappy, or she divorced me and took half my stuff and falsely accused me.
Zeroed
I'm
out.
not happy.
Yep, zeroed out. That's where you get the term zeroed out. Yep.
So men were exploring this. And yeah, a lot of men wanted to know what made women tick so they could be successful with women. So what I call this is the red pill is men looking for what is reality and discarding the typical beliefs that they'd grown up with and told, because obviously the typical beliefs are not they're often not true.
So is that the blue pill? The typical beliefs?
Yeah, that is.
Return to the fantasy of not awakening to reality, but still being plugged into the matrix.
Well,
or the plantation.
Call that, as Glenn mentioned, women are sugar and spice and everything nice.
Mm-hmm.
Women are innocent and trustworthy and all this. And it's only men. It's only a man or multiple men, bad men, who corrupt the woman. Otherwise, if you marry her young before she's corrupted, you'll be fine.
So what is the red pill then?
I'm just going through the motivations.
Okay.
This is why men started looking into this. And then they wanted to understand women's behavior. That is kind of the same thing. And the reasons women do what they do. Because oftentimes they say one thing and do another. They say they want this kind of nice guy, emotionally available, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, they have their checklist, right? A lot of times they have the checklist, right? After they they get dumped or they had a bad experience with the previous guy. Now I'm going to have a nice, stable guy, have kids, and he's got to check this, check off this, check off this. And
but do they go for that? If you listen to that and say, I check all those boxes, are they still interested? No, not until they hit that declining fertility. Then, okay, it's like musical chairs. So, okay, so that's the next thing. And so men wanted to learn how to socially interact with women. Men, young men, even old men, you see a beautiful woman and you're reluctant to go talk to her. Many men are, not all men, because you don't want to be rejected. So you get cold feet and you don't do that. Women never approach men. So you wanted to find out how to socially interact so you wouldn't feel so awkward. Okay, there are two purposes for this. You can go one way or the other way. You can use this to find a girlfriend and potentially a wife, or you can use, assuming you gain skill in social interaction, you can use this to sleep with a lot of women. That would be the pickup artist. So there were a lot of programs in game pickup artist. Some men went to those to learn how to sleep with a lot of women. There's no data for this, but you're not going to change the programming of a man. Most men, a lot of men, I don't know what percentage, but a lot of men just want one woman, a good woman, as a wife. So they went to those programs to learn that. And they're not going to be indoctrinated to to use this skill for sleeping with a lot of women. It just doesn't happen. It might happen once in a while, but for the most part, men didn't do that.
Well,
at least not that I saw.
Steve, and so you're actually saying something that I don't think the world has heard very often, because a lot of this took place in the late 90s and early 2000s, the sort of pickup artistry thing. And what you're saying is that a lot of men are not going there to sort of predator women, right? They're not there to just pump and dump as many women as possible. And we have seen, particularly in the mid 2010s, just TV show after TV show. Cop shows loved this. You would go and then there would be the predatory pickup artist, and he was hiding himself with all his crimes as a pickup artist. And I'm not going to say that never happened, but what you're saying is that's not why most guys go to this stuff.
That's my belief. I can't prove it, but I know we have our programming, the beliefs that we hold dear, that were formed in childhood. Some men will just flip and rebel and go counter that, but most men are going to gather the information and modify. No, my goal has always been to find a wife. I suck at talking to women. I want the skills to talk to women. Therefore, I'm going to go learn from these guys. Just like a guy who says, you know what? I want to learn how to protect myself and be more confident. So I'm going to go take martial arts. Yeah, I know some guys use martial arts and they take it to the competitive level and they fight other men and they go out seeking fights and, thumping their chest and all that. Nah, I don't want to do that. I just want to learn how to be competent and have the skill to use if I need to. It's the same thing. You gather skills to use for the purpose that you already have in your mind. You're not getting new purpose from the pickup artist.
No.
Well,
You're getting a tool. You're getting a tool.
Well, I would say you're getting a tool to help fulfill natural law, natural programming. Is that an evil?
Well, it's not an evil. Now, has anybody really articulated this? Now, you can quibble with me. Well, I don't know if that happens and how much of the time it happens. Okay, that's fine. But any of our people who oppose what we're saying here, are you telling me that it's not possibly true? I mean, could it be this way? Could a good man go to that to learn these skills, and then he gets experience doing it?
Hey, Steve, can I bring up a?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm thinking about something here, and Rollo has talked about this. He says part of the reason that women hate the red pill so much is that it teaches men because it teaches men how women operate. Men who learn this stuff, they are able to, quote unquote, trick women into the women believing that the man is something that he isn't actually. Right. And I wonder if that's part of why people don't like the red pill on any side. Because I'm looking at this. There's a comment here. I'll pull it up from Colonel down here. Last church I visited was full of single mommies looking for help. Pastor talked about finding them a husband from the pulpit. It is pathetic, but I think that what it's really trying to do is kind of the same thing for women, saying here's church has become pickup school for women.
Yeah. And usually for idealistic men that probably they might have the right mindset, the right moral set, but they're ignorant and they don't realize the old order is dead. They're being duped. A lot of them are being duped.
So let's go into this. Another thing by Rollo. This is July 1st, 2024.
Oh no, we're quoting Rollo too much.
Oh yeah. Just what is game? And I'll read through this quick. Throughout every major manosphere blog, there's a constant presumption that readers know exactly what game is. Game has been lifted to an almost mythical state. Game is some cure-all for the average guy struggling with attracting women's attention and intimacy. It's gotten to the point where familiarity with game has become a given for the manosphere bloggers. We have varieties of game. We have internalized game. We have natural game, direct game, beta game. But defining the term game for some unfamiliar with the very involved intricacies, behaviors, and underlying psychological principles on which game is founded is challenging for the uninitiated to wrap their heads around in the beginning. Just the word game infers deception or manipulation for the unfamiliar. You're not being honest if you're playing a game. So from the outset, we're starting with a perception disadvantage. This is further compounded when attempting to explain game concepts to a guy who's conditioned to just be himself with women and who believes that how women allegedly hate guys who play games with them. As bad as that sounds, the explanation of how game is more than the common perception prompts a discussion for new readers to have it explained to them. At its root level, game is a set of behaviors and social skills based on psychological and sociological principles that best facilitate intersexual relations between men and women. Game is best practices. In its humble beginnings, game was a set of improvised behaviors learned, adapted, and modified to improve men's sexual access with women they had only limited, if any, success with. Game was defined as a series of behavioral skills and techniques that were observed, experimented with, and developed by the burgeoning pickup artist (PUA) form culture of the early 2000s. While a passing nod was given to the psychology that made these behavior sets effective, the focus was on results and less on the internal mechanics that made them possible. This introduction was the manosphere's first contact with formalized game. Pickup was an art, not a science. The quality of the art in the pickup artistry was and still is left up to the practitioner to understand the basics of behavioral and evolutionary psychology and refine his ability to adapt and react to his target's changing behavior cues in various environments and contexts. If this were the only extent of game, it would be very limited in scope. In the beginning, game had utility. It helped most men who lacked social intelligence to approach and develop a natural, intimate rapport with women they lacked before. The problem was that beyond game's in-field uses, it wasn't developed past the point of getting the girl. It left even the most socially adept PUAs unprepared to deal with the psychology motivating women on a deeper level. It was meta psychology that drove men, unaccustomed to enjoying and then losing the affections of women, formerly out of their league, to depression and suicide. The cure isn't the cure, it kills the patient in the process. Game was a wondrous tool set of skills, but without the insight and foresight to deal with what those tools could build, it was potentially like giving children dynamite. So, okay. I think a lot of our listeners may not know what game is. Okay, that was the impetus of game, to get the girl. But
Couldn't keep
wasn't
her.
anything. Yeah, that's the part that was missing. How to keep her.
No.
So there has been further development in that area. I just read the first part of Rollo's article. He probably goes into that. But okay, is game bad, Nick?
No, I would say sleeping around's wrong morally.
Well, but that goes back to what I was saying is the women treat game as bad because it allows men who did not. So the basic thesis was if you didn't have game, the women would recognize that intuitively and they could discard you immediately. And so for the women, it was easy. This guy understands me and is playing the game. And the women knew that
Well,
that
they
guy
know.
got it. What? Oh,
Okay,
it's all feeling and
game-
inference.
Game makes you interesting. It sparks their emotions. But game is just a social interaction tool.
Yep.
Game can be used to get noticed, to interact with women, develop rapport, to make her your girlfriend, and eventually your wife. You're going to meet a lot more women. Now, it can also be used to get women into bed and go from woman to woman to woman. So,
Well,
is game bad?
In and of
No.
itself, no.
Well,
No.
what else can game be used for? It can be used in sales, right?
Correct.
Sales uses
Correct.
right. Is sales bad?
No.
Okay.
Hey, if you want to be a successful salesman, you learn, to read people, to have cues, not to, to be a confident man, to project success and be successful. Sometimes you fake it till you make it. There might be some of that in game too, but
game is like
it's
a tool.
also part of developing a person as well.
Teach a man how to swing a hammer. He can use it to pound nails, or he can use it to bash someone's head in and rob them. Is the hammer bad? Is teaching a man how to use a hammer bad? No, it's not.
No.
It's just a tool.
Right.
But so
Okay,
the feminist attack against that is that it makes it harder for women to quickly distinguish between who has game and who doesn't. If the guy that's where this but he lied to me
Not
about
my
who
fault.
he was.
Not my fault. Not my
yeah,
problem.
well, hey, Plutarch, you just keep getting ahead. Look at my second page of notes.
Darn it, I want to get there.
Fake alpha deception
Oh, okay. I was kind
covers
of touching
exactly what you're talking about.
on that. All right.
This is what I get for actually reading the pre-show notes.
Okay, so what else? Okay, one thing that we've talked about here, which comes from the red pill, is learning about women's avoidance of responsibility and accountability. Now, this would be those further developments after you get the women. Okay, this has been, okay, how much have we talked about this? How much do other people talk about this now? And understanding it, you have to be taught this because, if you have that blue pill, you just kind of think women are going to be as accountable as men are, and they're not. Would you agree
Absolutely
with
not.
me, Nick?
Hell no. They're never held accountable pretty much anywhere. Just look at the court system.
Accountability is female kryptonite.
So, okay. And then throughout history, even growing up in our youth and all that, yeah, there's that old saying, who wears the pants in that family?
If you
And
have
the
to say it,
henpecked
it isn't the
husband.
guy.
Okay, so men innately want to lead, but they don't know how to lead. But they want to know how to lead a woman. And frankly, this is going to piss off the feminists. But a man
Okay.
has to also learn how to manage a woman. Okay, is this extraordinary? I don't think so. A lot of women work. Don't they have a boss? He's the manager. He manages his employees. There's a hierarchy. It's not a democracy. A woman working under a manager doesn't get to give him her opinion and make decisions together. No, he manages because he's in the position of authority. He's the leader. He has to manage. This is simple. Marriage, or even a boyfriend, girlfriend, dating relationship, is still not a partnership. And we have to just, if that's the first time you've heard that, get that through your head. Marriage is not a partnership because
No.
a partnership is not a marriage. What is a marriage? A marriage is a marriage. We don't need any other descriptors. Marriage goes back to Genesis. So why do we need to redefine marriage in terms of something else? No, marriage is the thing by which other things should be defined by. Okay, so the next thing men wanted to learn is what things trigger desire in women. Now, any married man has experienced this. He wants to have a little bit of fun time. But she's
Because what's the
not in
problem?
the mood.
She's never in the mood, and they have what kind of what? It's dry. Sometimes they don't in the same bedroom. Sometimes
Headaches.
we call had headaches, but never the solution. But and the quality is low. It's what do they call that?
Starfish.
Yeah.
Dead bedroom. Okay, you know what? She
Been there.
used to be, one time, she was willing
Mhm.
and even eager, and now she's not. So, how do I trigger her desire? What? Okay, I'm doing all the right things, but it's not happening. I'm frustrated. Where are the solutions? Hey, Nick, in that case, you should
Yes.
go to your church, right, and ask them.
Hell no. Well, 99% of the time, I would say hell no. There's a few good churches that would stick up for the man and prop him up, but
Well, even
not
sticking up
really.
for the man, sticking up for the man is one thing, but can the church really? Can
No,
even the
no.
church demand that the woman, basically command performance out of the woman?
I
Really?
mean, they can, but
Okay,
I don't think the quality is going to improve.
right, because you cannot command desire.
Right.
It's one. Oh, hey, if that sounds like something the red pill might say, oh, hey, look,
Yeah.
guys. So that gets back to, well, what does trigger desire in women? Well, women like it when you're playful with them. Women like it when you're not a fucking pansy. Don't they want to? They like it when you pass their shit tests. These
When
are
you're not
all things.
fat. When you're not fat.
Yeah, these are all things that you have to do. And here's another message for the guys out there: you cannot just focus on one of them. Again, I got another Colonel one here where he says he's talking about Rich Cooper, and we're talking about, oh, you mean I didn't need to buy that Lambo like Cooper to get the girls?
I don't think he would say that.
Well,
But he likes his cars.
yeah, like I am fine
Well-
if you like cars, but if you think that having a Lamborghini is going to be what drives the girls wild, well, it might for a night, but they're not going to stick around for it. And same with, the quote unquote game and shit tests. If you fail one shit test and the woman decides to leave you, hate to say it, but that's not on the guy. And I mean, that's a whole conversation for later, but like, this is in balance, guys. You have to do all of it. You can't just say, oh, well, I have a Lamborghini, suck my dick. Am I wrong?
Right. So, yeah. So back to what triggers desire in women. Actually, your leadership does. Having the proper order. A bit of dominance will do wonders. Now, we kind of are afraid of that word, dominate, dominance.
But it comes from the Latin word. It just means to be an authority, to be the ruler.
Okay, now let me illustrate this. Should you be a dictator in your home?
No.
Doesn't work.
Okay. What is a dictator?
Tyrant.
Are you talking about tyrant?
Okay, yes, you associate it with tyrant. Now,
but
is
you're talking
a
about
monarch?
the office. You're talking about the office of a monarch, basically, right?
Okay, yeah, is a monarch a dictator?
Right.
Technically,
Okay.
yes.
Yes, a monarch is a dictator. A monarch is the king. Are you king in your home?
Yes.
You should be. And yes, okay, we associate, we got this mental block or this training. Dominance is dictator is bad. But monarch, well, no, we're Americans. We believe in democracy. Everybody should have a say. Well, yeah, don't. A democracy of two is not going to work. You have to be the leader. You have to be the king in your home. No, you're not going to be a tyrant. No, You don't want to control every aspect of her. You don't want to.
It doesn't work.
Most men don't want to control her at all.
No.
We just want to lead. The leader sets the boundaries, and if you don't follow the boundaries, there are consequences. That doesn't mean punishment. It just means no. If you go outside of this, we're going to talk about it, and there are consequences. Okay, you got to enforce your boundaries. If someone crosses your boundaries, there has to be consequences. Okay, this is basic stuff. Now, don't go to the evil, oh, he's just an evil, controlling, abusive. No, I'm not talking about that. So stop with your catastrophic thinking. So, okay, one last thing before we move on to the next thing, or the next theme. Yeah, you got to learn to decipher the code, because women say one thing but mean something else.
Well, or they say something, but their behavior doesn't add up to what they're saying.
Right, because they're meaning something else. Okay, so this is why the red pill exists. Because men came together to talk about these things. And the internet has been a wonderful thing for this, because you can go on and you can watch numerous women talking about things, and it's captured forever. And you can play what this woman says, watch what the next woman says, and you can find commonalities in behavior. Before this, without the internet and the ability to watch all this stuff, you were just stuck with one woman, or maybe your sister or your mother. You did not have the data to actually understand this stuff.
Well, Steve, there's something else that's been that the red pill does, and I don't think it gets enough credit. The reaction shows that guys like Donovan Sharp do, where all he does is break down dating these reality TV shows, like the what was one of his favorites, Temptation Island, for a while, right? And what he's doing as a red pill guy is saying, okay, guys, you see that? Here's what it actually means. You see this? Watch, this will happen, right? And so the red pill has become sort of a repository of experience that can be easily transmitted to other men using these videos, as Steve described, to educate men on how women behave. Is that evil?
They don't want you to know, but it's not evil. No, not at all.
The women don't want you to know. That's true. The feminists definitely don't want you to know, but it's not evil.
That's a lot of men don't want you to know this either, because they want to stay in their delusion, and they don't want. Well, every man at a certain level is a little bit insecure. What if a more dominant? What if a better man comes along? So men
just be glad
who are
for
married, they don't really want to see better men out there either.
Okay.
Most don't. Okay, so let's go to the evil side again. Okay, there was. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Back in the day, this started out as Royce. Then it became Chateau Artiste. This is back in the blogging days. 16 Commandments of Poon. So this is in the game pickup artists when there was a lot of discussion. So I'm not going to read much of this. I'm just going to go through the 16. Never say I love you first. make her jealous. Okay, you have to be the dominant guy, okay? And let her know you have options. You're not serving her. You don't make her feel. Okay, this might be overstated, okay? But you're not her slave. You're not her servant. You are your own man. She has to come along with you. So she has to be a little bit afraid that you'll find someone else. You make your mission. You shall make your mission, not your woman, priority. Like I said, it's your adventure.
Should your goal be to make her afraid though?
Okay, yes, absolutely. Are we not supposed to fear the Lord?
I know, but
So
not to try to
go through
manipulate
this.
them.
I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
What's the right word for a fear that you'll lose, find other options? Afraid
you're
you'll lose
not.
find other
You
options.
don't have.
Fear of missing
They have
out.
FOMO. Not being a man doesn't have one itis, basically. You could say that.
Yeah,
So,
okay. I mean, that's the thought I'm trying to get to. Okay, 4,
okay.
don't play by her rules. Well, yeah, she's not the leader. That makes sense. Oh, okay. Adhere to the golden ratio. Give her 2/3 of everything she gives you. Well, okay, this can sound a little bit weird, but yeah, you're not there to serve her. Remember, God created her to be the helpmeet. You give her the things you require, but you're not put on this planet to serve her and give her everything. You have to keep her guessing. Well,
is that the female intuition thing? They think they got you figured out, and therefore they can
yeah,
box you in,
so,
and therefore they lose interest.
Yeah, keep her guessing. You know, if she's got you figured out, she's going to get bored. You don't, I mean, obviously, if you're on your mission and you're a Christian man, your fidelity is not in question. You're not keeping her guessing about that. Okay, always keep 2 in the kitty. Well, okay. Again, never allow yourself to be a kept man. Well, this implies you should have an option on the side if she misbehaves. I'm not going there.
I'm not either. Don't agree.
Say you're sorry only when absolutely necessary. I think that's true. Women do not like to apologize or accept accountability. So do not be too willing to accept accountability and say, I'm sorry, I did this and I was wrong. Yeah, a woman is never going to be that direct to you. If you are that direct with her, she is going to use that to think she's more superior than you, or she's superior to you.
I don't think it's wrong to confess. I don't think it's wrong. If you have offended her, you have a duty. If you have offended her by God's standards, let's put it that way. If you have done something wrong by God's standards to her, yes, you do owe her an apology and say, yeah, this was wrong and I'm not going to do it and moving on.
Well,
but don't just apologize just because she's offended, though. And don't be
right,
always
exactly.
apologizing. Yeah.
If you're always apologizing, you're probably apologizing for things that you think will stop her from putting out. It's actually more like pussy negotiation than it is.
Mhm.
You know, like, okay, so if I lie or I strike you, right, or I do something that is against the natural order. Look, that's on me. I have to own that.
Right.
But if it's just something that she didn't like that I said, and I do this with my wife, I just and she gets all angry about it. I just look at her and go, "Okay, you're angry. What are you going to do about that? It's not my fault you're angry. It's not my fault you're offended by that thing. You're going to have to figure that one out."
Yep. So the next one, Connect with her emotions. Hey, women are emotional. You got to realize they're not going to deal with you on a logical basis. You're not going to have a lot of logical talks. They're feeling something. They're going to feel it. You can use all the logic in the world. You can have the wisdom of Solomon. You're not going to accomplish anything. You've got to understand she's an emotional creature and you have to connect with her emotions. Next, number 10, ignore her beauty. Oh man, she wants to be all the attention for and the compliments and all that. Yeah, okay. Oh, oh, you're so hot. Oh man, you're gorgeous. What do we call this, guys?
I don't know, but they've heard it all their life.
Being a simp.
Yeah, it's nothing new to them. They probably hear this all the time.
My wife hears it from other men, even while she's married, and tells them that she's married. The guys don't care.
Okay, next one. Be irrationally self-confident. Yes. Be confident. Have a presence. Have frame. Yes, you're not going to get rattled. No, you're not going to cry in front of her. No, you're not going to share all your feelings and emotions because that demonstrates weakness. Even though she asks for that, no, don't do that.
Well,
maximize your strengths.
Respect that. Yeah.
Minimize your weaknesses. Well, I kind of already said that. Err
a
on the
strong
side
man, not
of
a weak man.
err on the side of too much boldness rather than too little. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. And okay, don't ask your wife or girlfriend for permission. Hey, you're the king, okay? The next thing, sex her good. Okay, well, that's an important part.
If you're married
of the
to her, sure, yeah.
Okay, maintain your state control.
Okay, I would say frame control.
This one. Yeah, okay. You are an oak tree. You will not be manipulated by crying, yelling, lying, head games, sexual withdrawal, jealousy, ploys, pity plays, shit tests, hot, cold, disappearing acts, guilt trips. She will rain and thunder all around you, and you will shelter her until her storm passes. She will not drag you into her chaos or uproot you. When you have mastery over yourself, you will have mastery over her.
Men, I cannot overstate how important this is. I have counseled other men, in the red pill that look, I don't care about your money, I don't care about your muscles, I do not care about your game. If you cannot do this, none of those will matter in the end. All of those things are the external manifestations. If you do not have frame, it does not matter what those other things you have are. You will not keep the girl. You will get divorced. And I'm going to say that you will get divorced. Your body doesn't matter if you can't do this. Your money doesn't matter if you can't do this.
Now, this last one, a lot of Christian men, and it's taken me a long time to agree with this. Never be afraid to lose her. She wants to leave. Sorry, guys. You're just going to have to let her leave. You cannot accomplish anything. You can try, and God knows I tried.
Me too.
But
we all did.
No, it's just not going to work. Okay. Her life is with you. Your life is not with her. She wants to, remember, it's your adventure. She can come along with you. if she leaves, she is leaving your protection and provision. Yeah, okay, you got the court and all that bullshit to go through, but you know,
gone. It's over.
It's really okay, and you're gonna struggle with this. If your wife leaves you, it's going to emotionally hurt you way more than her. I mean,
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
It's like she won't even care. And you know, it's going to take you 6 months to a year to just process through it. But, you know, that's important. Now, if you go into it with that attitude, you'll be healthier. Just because you're not afraid to lose her does not mean you have to love her any less.
That's correct. Speaking from experience, I'm gonna co-sign on this and say, guys, you have to be able to do this. I told Elena
independence.
I told Elena when we started dating that I didn't know if she was going to be the one. And when we were talking about getting married, I said, look, you can leave. I will let you leave, but do not expect a thing from me after you do that. And I told her, and if you cheat, I will make sure you leave. Your stuff will be on the front porch. Go wherever you want to go. And I've told her this, you better make sure that the man that you're cheating on me with is willing to take you in, because I will dump your ass within weeks.
Right.
But you have to be able to do that.
I'm not interrupting people. I'm just moving it along because this is going to be a long stream.
No, I'm enjoying it.
The 16 Commandments of Poon. Hey, you know what, guys? That was from the pickup artist community.
There are some helpful things in there. You have to look through it from a Christian lens, but there's still some helpful things in there.
Okay, so another point I want to make. They talk about prescriptions. Glenn kind of mentioned that. Prescriptions. Well, let me tell you something. Prescriptions are opinions. Prescriptions are not tenets. Now, I want to define that word. T-E-N. Let me read it.
T-E-N-E-T-S.
T-E-N-E-T-S. Tenets. Not tenants. You're not living in an apartment building. It's tenants.
Okay.
Okay. Because, I'm not treating people stupid, but hey, sometimes I used to get these things wrong too. So what is a tenet? It's a principle, belief, or doctrine generally held to be true. Okay, so again, prescriptions are opinions. Opinions are not tenets, okay? So just because someone in the red pill says this and you should do it this way does not mean it's you got to believe that, or all red pill people believe that, and therefore all red people are wrong.
So Steve, what you're saying is all those feminists who try to paint us with the Tate paintbrush or the Rollo paintbrush, well, he said this, so you all believe that? You mean they're wrong?
Oh, yeah, I know you're going to have a hard time believing that, but yes, those feminists are wrong.
Well, but it also points to another problem that goes back to where we started this video. Just because someone offers a prescription that you don't like, that's not a reason to start attacking the red pill. That is their opinion of how they have dealt with this problem. You can take it or you can leave it. But and hey, so eventually, yes, some of these opinions will become generally held beliefs. That is true. But we have a deliberative process amongst men that we call debate. We usually take this out. We used to do this on forums, as Steve was showing, but now we do this on panel shows. Okay. But if your goal is just to sit here and trash other men, I'm sorry, you're not helping, because you've looked at one person's prescription and said, well, you're wrong, so I can't be red pill anymore. That is weak man shit.
Okay, well, hey, let's talk about pearl clutching. Wikipedia, pearl clutching. This first bit is really good. Pearl clutching is a deliberate and potentially bad faith reaction to a comment and a form of civil point of view pushing. It is done in order to exaggerate the effects and impacts of said comment. Well, I never. And oh my stars are phrases you might expect a pearl clutcher to say. Pearl clutching is very similar to tone policing, a form of anti-debate tactic intended to distract from the main point of the discussion. It can be compared to taking a dive. You really aren't hurt, but in order to provoke a reaction from the official, you act like you are. With pearl clutching, one acts like a comment is overtly egregious in order to persuade others into thinking that the comment was bad faith or malicious, with no regard for the accurate representation of the original comment. The goal is to undermine the original poster of the comment by accusing them of incivility, when incivility is typically the least of concern in the matter at hand, as pearl clutching is often used as a last-ditch effort by point of view pushers to gain ground when they are being shut down. Pearl clutching comes in many forms and is typically easily identifiable because the pearl clutcher's claims are usually a stretch at best. Pearl clutchers are almost always point of view pushers or those wanting to aid a point of view pusher's argument, but it is sometimes just about grandstanding.
Oh, you hurt me. Oh.
Does this sound like something you might hear from a chick out of whatever?
Hey, hold on. This sounds like Trent Horn.
Oh, that guy's back.
Again, come on.
Again. We just can't seem to let go of that particular bone, can we? Well, to be fair, the Christ pill guys, they basically they were trying to Jesus smuggle people back onto the plantation, and they were using pearl clutching to do it. So it's like, yeah, the Christ pill guys are going to come up a lot in what we talk about.
Yeah. Okay,
I want people to go to church. I want them to find a godly woman. I just don't think they understand the problem, really.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So another this is a kind of a vocabulary lesson tonight. Another word is pedantic. Pedantic is an adjective. You're acting pedantic. Okay. That means you're caring too much about unimportant rules or details and not enough about understanding or appreciating a subject or the main point. Okay, same thing. That is also used to trash the red pill.
Again, how many girls on whatever have tried to take out a certain Andrew Wilson using pedantry? And he literally has just started saying, so you're being a pedant. You're being because at some point, I understand where he's coming from. You get sick and tired of hearing the same shit all the time.
Oh, well, that's one thing that the red pill kind of points out, though, about female behavior is the pedanticness, is the beating around the bush and carrying nitpicking crap instead of actually addressing the real issue whenever you try to address a problem with a woman.
Well, what's the point of the red pill? To look at female behavior.
Yeah.
Guys, watch the behavior of women. When you ask a woman a question, she's going to be evasive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be pedantic. And when you say, well, women act this way, she'll come back at you. All women act that way? Well, I didn't say all women.
Mm-hmm.
Or, if you say something like, well, it always turns out this way, blah, 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 They focus on, you mean always? I can come up with an exception. Okay, that's a pedant. Always, that word was not the focus of your statement. There was a intent to the statement. It wasn't that it always happens. People throw that in. It means generally, a lot of times, most of the time, don't care. I'm not focused on that, but here's the point. Well, if they start quibbling about your choice of words, they're being pedantic and it's annoying as hell.
It's also very hard to combat because it's also because it tries to pull you down a path that gets you off the main point you're trying to make.
Yep.
It's about the unimportant rules or details. So
Okay. And I've tried this. Okay. When someone is doing that, you try and go back and restate what you were going to say in very clear terms, but now you have to use 5 times the amount of words.
Mm-hmm.
And you're on their territory because you just fell for their tactic. And so in those 5 times of words, they will cut you off after maybe 30 seconds. Maybe they'll give you 30 seconds, but you will never be able to articulate the whole thing to get to the end because their whole point is finding something to quibble.
Yeah,
So
it's like it's like
it's
the
difficult.
natural law can describe something about men and women, but they will always find an exception. And even this guy, Franciscus Junius, I think in like the 17th or 16th century, even pointed that out back then.
Well, it just goes back to the purpose of being a pedant is to derail a conversation that is not going well for the person. So you'll see pedantry as a tactic to try and get out of being, basically destroyed. And the only way I can see to really get around it is you don't go back and restate your position, because if you use more words, you're giving them more possible exceptions they can take.
You give them more fodder.
Right.
More
Yeah.
stuff.
So don't give them the fodder. Just go back and say, no, we're not dealing with exceptions like this. We're dealing with generalities. If you can't have a debate like this, sorry, we're just not going to talk. We'll, like on the whatever stuff, we're just going to cut your mic now, and you're out of the conversation because you're not bringing anything of value. You're not having a conversation. You're just trying to shout me down.
Yeah. So my last phrase that I'm going to talk about, heard this one. Those that want to trash the red pill, and we've kind of demonstrated already tonight, there's a lot of good information in the red pill. Important stuff, valuable stuff. Yeah, there is some yucky stuff here too. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If someone throws the baby out with the bathwater, they reject an idea completely, even though some parts of it are good. Even if we don't necessarily like the whole scheme, we're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's an example. In rejecting traditional values, they have thrown the baby out with the bathwater. That's another example of how do you use this. So I would encourage you to look at the red pill and the knowledge of the red pill in the same way. Take the truths and don't discard it just because some people might use it in ways you don't find acceptable.
By the way, Colonel Buckshot's on fire tonight. Red pill knowledge is like what the old preacher told me. You take the good and throw the scraps on the burn pile. That's exactly what we're talking about here. The red pill isn't some universal corpus of knowledge that you can just download into your brain and use everything they say. But if you can't take the good parts of the red pill and separate it from the parts that you don't personally agree with, that's not it's not strong men. It's not what strong men do. It's not what rational men do. If you come to me and you say, "Oh, I'm a rational male," and then I'm going to throw away everything because I don't like some of it, you lied to me. Either you're not actually going to throw away all of it and trash all of it, or you are not a rational male. And when I press people on it, usually it comes down to they're not rational men.
Well, it's also I'll take this from a Christian perspective. So we're Christians, right? God talks about observing nature. Do you listen to your doctors after they give you they've done all this medical research? They haven't looked it up in the Bible, but they have all this medical research, things that they have been observed, experimented upon, and they generally have certain results, and they can prescribe informations based on the observations they make on how your body's reacting, how your body's acting. Are you going to ignore the doctor? Can the doctor be wrong? Sure, doctors sometimes are wrong, but is
Well,
everything that the doctor does, is it wrong? Same
no,
thing.
look, the human body is one of the most complex systems we know of in existence. The doctor's going to get things wrong because you're dealing with complex interactions. Some people are allergic to some drugs, some people that other people are not to. For example, so your doctor might prescribe you something, you find out you're allergic to it, and he has to go find something else. Was he wrong? Technically, yes. Does that mean you're not going to listen to him? No, because he still knows more about the system than you do. He still has a better chance of getting it right than you do, in theory, if he's actually paid attention in med school.
And so the red pill has observations, gathered information, and maybe it's not as precise as, doctors, but it's in that realm, and you'd be foolish not to listen in or take notice and then extrapolate what the observations. Maybe you could reject. We reject evolutionary psychology as Christians, so we would say, yeah, we don't partake of that, but the observations are still correct. And so we
Well,
could take
A
take
lot
the
of observations of evolutionary psychology are just the same things you find in the Bible. Some of it's different, but a lot of it's the same.
well,
So,
Nick,
yeah, you don't have to buy into that whole concept.
Nick, I have a question for you, and it goes back to the doctor line. Okay, so your doctor gets a prescription wrong, and he offers you a different prescription. You're going to say no? Well, just because he got the first one wrong? No, you're going to say, "Oh, okay, I'll go down to the pharmacy and try this instead." Just because, so we have to be willing to look at the prescriptions and accept that some of those prescriptions are based on the observations that all these people out there are saying, "Oh, well, like what's a common refrain you hear about the red pill now? Oh, well, I agree with their observations. I just disagree with their prescriptions." Okay, well, here's the problem. Logically, if you agree with their observations and the prescriptions and some of their prescriptions work, then what you're really telling me is that you don't actually disagree with all of their prescriptions. You just have a disagreement with a few of them. But you want to say that you don't agree with their prescriptions. And that's a whole nother topic that we, looking at the clock here, do not have time to get into.
Well, I want to make one more point before we move on. With doctors. Okay, doctors have medical training. Some doctors use their medical training to perform abortions.
Yes.
Not all doctors do that. Therefore, people understand that all doctors are not bad. Red pill. Guys in the red pill. Some red pill guys use their knowledge to go out and be promiscuous and sleep with a lot of women. Not all red pill guys do that. Therefore, if all doctors are not bad, then all red pill guys are not bad. And just like medical training is not bad, red pill knowledge is not bad.
There you go. You developed my point. I was trying to develop off my off the top of my mind.
Well,
What? You were going to say the same thing, Nick?
No, that's I was trying to develop just on the spot, and y'all caught on to what I was doing, and you pushed it. Oh, great, good job.
well, but then
Okay.
this means that if you're out here trashing the red pill, you are probably practicing some of what the red pill preaches while you're trashing it. Okay, well, doesn't that make you a little bit of a hypocrite? Because if I were to grill you, you say, oh, well, and so I would ask you, okay, well, which are the prescriptions you don't agree with? And a lot of guys would say, oh, well, I don't agree with sleeping with a lot of women. And they bring up Myron from Fresh and Fit, with his 50 women thing. And look, even a lot of the red pill guys have said, yeah, you can do that, but then they dive into it rationally and go, okay, just tag in 50 women. Are you really going to learn a lot about female nature from doing that? Not honestly, not really.
You're going to learn a lot about getting a woman, but you're going to learn virtually nothing about keeping a woman.
Right. So how beneficial is it? Well, if your goal is to tag lots and lots and lots and lots of women, then that's the end point. You don't need to go any further. But saying that the red pill is bad because it gives guys the tools to do that, I'm sorry. No, that doesn't make the red pill bad. The very most you could say is that you think that person is a quote unquote bad person. That's the most you can say.
It's like saying, hey, you provided a gym for men to get fit, and women showed up there, and they used their fitness to women like the fitness of the men, so it's your fault for getting the men fit so they could approach these women.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So I think we want to move on to the second half of our program, which is shorter. This is a smaller piece, but it's still half. Okay. So I came up with some points. Why do many men attack the concept of red pill?
Well, we just talked about some of that. Bad men.
And we've yes. Okay. There's this typical belief that bad men are doing bad things to women, and that's what makes them into bad women.
This is a favorite.
For the bad men, then we wouldn't have so many bad women. Or if the bad men, these alpha guys, these pickup artists, wouldn't be out there banging all the women, then, we wouldn't have so many sluts and I'd be able to find a wife.
Oh, that's an interesting argument, Steve. That so the argument that you're saying, and I have heard this before. Okay. If men weren't banging all these women, we wouldn't have so many sluts. The obvious counter to that argument is these women don't want to be banged by these men. I mean, a woman has every tool available that we can possibly have devised, legal, physical, women have all sorts of physical tools. If she didn't want to be banged by that guy, do you think she would have maybe said no? Or are we talking about the grapists?
Here's the other thing. A lot of these Christian guys will say, yeah, women are the gatekeepers of sex and men are the gatekeepers of marriage. Okay. if women are the gatekeepers of sex, is it the bad men who are just storming the gates and knocking them down? Or is it the gatekeeper who opens up the door to let any Tom, Dick, and Harry in?
Oh, but that means they're accountable. That means they have some agency, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, we get back to that.
This is a whole long conversation that I don't on agency that I don't know what we have time for tonight.
But that's a good lead in. Okay, so men, they have a fear of understanding the true nature of women. They don't want to understand that because that might reflect on, okay, a married man, it might reflect on his woman. And he wants to believe in her purity. And he doesn't want to believe that she might be predisposed to these same behaviors. He wants to trust her. And if he realizes that, yeah, she has the same basic nature as the other women out there, and dare I say, the woman that is a good wife has the same basic nature as the whore, the slut, the woman that's the promiscuous woman. That same basic nature is in there.
No, Steve, you're wrong. All these women are
Sorry,
sugar and
I've
spice
seen
and
it.
everything nice.
And hold on, come on, guys. You kind of want to see that behavior. She's your wife. You kind of want her to be hungry, physically hungry for you. You want her to just cut loose. You kind of want those things.
What were we talking about being unable to
you've
manufacture
also
genuine
seen
desire?
her, yeah, and you've also seen her irrational behavior. You've seen how she doesn't have accountability. When you ask her a direct question, she doesn't want to answer it. You know what? I'm not saying her behavior is the same. No, I'm not going there. But some of that basic nature and inclinations exist within her. And you know what? If you don't understand that, you're not really loving who she is. And some of these natures are not necessarily bad.
Is it wrong for a woman to be a whore for her man? I don't think so.
She's not a whore, but
Well, I mean, but behave like one.
That's rightly rooted desire.
Right. We men want that. And
that's good.
Yes, it's a good thing. But that relies on the nature of women to be able, we know they can do it. We want them to do it. We just only want them to do it for us. But in order to get there, you have to accept that it is in their nature to do that for any man. If they can do it for you, they can do it for anyone else. And I think that's really the point of what Steve's getting here.
And here's okay, now beyond the sexual, every man should realize that he personally and his wife might do this, that he is at risk of her divorcing him. Because that's also in the nature of women. So that goes back to the other points of Red Pill, how to effectively lead a woman, how to manage her, how to understand her, how to connect with her emotions. Now, there is no guarantee in this world. This is really a complex thing we're talking about here. But you can increase your success rate of your marriage by understanding these things. And if you bury your head in the sand and say, oh, I'm not going to learn any of this red pill stuff. Yeah. You know what? As I said earlier in a text, you can voluntarily swallow the red pill.
You can take this.
Or what did I say, Nick?
Take the suppository.
Yeah, or take it as a suppository. No.
And a lot of guys end up in the red pill space because life gave us a suppository.
That's all three of us, by the way. All three of us took the suppository without the lube. Okay.
Oh, man.
It's all of us. So we're here speaking from a place of we're trying to tell you guys, go to the red pill so that you don't have to live with what we went through, because what we went through was painful. It did fundamentally alter who each of us was. Yes, we're talking about it now, and I think the three of us have grown up beyond it and grown past it. But I think if you asked every one of us while we were going through it, if we were as calm and rational about it as we are, I think we'd all laugh at you.
No.
Because we weren't.
It's not a good experience. But, you learn. You never learn from the good times. You learn from your suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, another reason men hate the red pill or attack it, it's the false belief that red pill knowledge is anti-Christian. Well, I think we've kind of proven that it's a false belief today, haven't we?
You have to treat it as observations in nature, and not everybody's going to get everything right, and their applications may be off. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not. But you have to understand. You have to have a Christian framework for looking at the world.
Which includes looking at women and looking at women's nature.
That's correct.
So, shoe thigh. Same here. 7-year long relationship. No ring, though, thank God. Or Lord have mercy. Or perhaps both. Okay, so, yeah. He thought he had it. Still bit him in the ass.
At least he got away without having to go through divorce court, which Shoe,
right.
Good on you, man.
So, and then the last one, which we've talked about many times, the false belief that red pill requires a man to be promiscuous. Yes, promiscuity, sleeping with a lot of women, is not a tenet of the red pill. It's not required. Yes.
Not required.
Some men do that. You know what? News story. Some men not in the red pill sleep with a lot of women.
Well, imagine that.
Steve, did you just steel man an argument in one sentence? Nice.
Okay, so now
it's the current boogeyman.
Now, why do many women attack the concept of the red pill? Now, this is okay. Now, Plutarch can go ahead. Because the one he was talking about way early, spilled the beans on it. Okay, what's this one?
Well, this one, Rolo's talked about this one quite a bit. Women, and particularly feminists, they need to believe this feminine mystique narrative that women are inscrutable and not understandable to men. And the reason they need to believe that is because when a man does get it, they know that that man has value. It's a signal of value. And if a woman discovers that you learned those things, that wasn't your authentic self, she can claim that you lied to her about who you were. And I want to bring up something interesting here because I don't know if you remember, and I think we've talked about this before a while ago. New York recently passed a law that if you lie to a woman and sleep with her, and she finds out that you lied, and she doesn't like the lie, like you lied about how much money you have, or you lied about, owning the Lambo, you rented it instead. She can now claim grape. She can now claim that and the court, and that is a legal form of the legally recognized form of grape. So what they are attempting to do is legalize, is take this tenet of female nature about, and yes, I'm using the word tenet, that they need to be able to detect who is and is not an authentically valuable person, and that the moment that they find out that you did something to make yourself appear more valuable than you were, they can get you for it. So,
Well, yeah. See, this all women fear, or okay, I'm going to use that word. They fear something. What if the guy they're attracted to is not real? What if he's faking it? I thought he was really a dominant alpha man. No, he's not. He's just learned this red pill game stuff, and he was just playing a game with me. In other words, he was a poser. He was not the genuine thing. He was not the Gucci bag. He was a knockoff.
I feel cheated.
Hey, you know what? I have a solution. Don't sleep around.
Well, but Nick, if the women can't sleep around, how can they find the absolute best guy out there? Of course, I'm thinking of a certain Yana Hawking, who has probably had 4 digits hanging off of her. But that's what these women tell themselves. If I don't sleep around, how can I attract the very best man? And that cycles back to this, well, the red pill tells men to be promiscuous. Well, sorry, ladies, you're sleeping with the same 10 guys.
But we already talked about, okay, if that initial stage of game teaches you how to get women, not how to keep women. So what's she doing? She is practicing that, opening her legs, how to get a man, not how to keep a man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so it's double standard, huh?
No, it's the same standard.
Yeah.
No. What I'm saying is that she's doing the same thing,
Yeah.
just in a different way.
So, the other things were, why do women hate it? We're talking on the red pill. We're talking about women's emotions. Just the idea that women are not logical creatures and their decisions are based on their emotions. They don't want men to know that. They want us to understand their emotions and validate their emotions, but they don't want us to know that they really have no logic, and logic doesn't play much of a role, if any, in making their decisions. Okay, this is kind of like a secret, and you know what? I don't even know that they can articulate this, but they just don't want men to know them that well.
Hey, Nick,
And
I got a
then
comment
feminism. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to get to. Yeah, the born again rolls back the speedometer to 0. Haven't you listened to sermons before, Pastor? Oh, so like the born again.
the born again virgins, yeah.
Yeah, that's
sorry, Steve. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I wanted to throw that up there for Nick.
I don't mind being interrupted. So the next one is feminist. Go ahead, Nick. We'll get there.
So a lot of times, This is the duplicity I'm talking about. Oh, he's being duplicitous. He's pretending to be something he's not. Well, so is she. Especially these born again virgins. You're not a virgin. Yeah, God may forgive you, but you still have opened your legs up, and all the reactions and the behaviorisms in your brain have not reset.
Well, even if we don't go to the opening of the legs, what about the 5 pounds of makeup you girls all wear? You're not lying to me
Oh.
about that?
Good point.
Women, even without makeup, they're concerned about appearances. They want to present themselves as someone who is lovable. They're not that concerned with presenting their genuine selves as presenting themselves in a positive light in the way they want to be seen. Basically, what mask are they wearing? I mean, they're not going to tell you their deepest secrets. And I have said many times, they are IPA, infidelity, promiscuity, abortion. Those are the guilts. They're not going to present that to you because you might not love them then. So they are presenting a false view. But yet they want you, the man, needs to be real. Really real. Really, really, really real. If he wasn't a natural guy, natural alpha, and he learned this, well, that doesn't count. It's just silly.
I always looked at it and said, okay, so he learned it and became a better man. What's your complaint? That he just didn't know it? Your complaint is that he just wasn't born that way? Look, if he's a better man, what is the complaint? That you didn't know that he was a worse quote unquote man before? That's the sole complaint. That's the big complaint out there. Get the fuck out of here with that. That's nonsense.
So now can I move on to my feminism point?
All right.
Okay. So feminism, you can't be a feminist and be in the red pill. You just can't, because it's going to talk about the nature of men and the nature of women. And you're going to realize that they're different. And so feminists want to believe, or have you believe, that men and women are equal in all things. They're not. And the red pill points that out. Now, as Christians, we believe that men and women are equal in worth before God. They're equal in dignity. They're not equal in abilities, in skills, in roles. Just like, you know what? I really am not equal to other men. Because some men are smarter than me. Some men are dumber than me. Some men are stronger than me. Some men are weaker than me. Some are shorter. Some are taller. I am not equal. So this obsession with equality is just absurd. I'm myself. Okay? Yep. I'm going to do what I can do with the talents God has given me, and it's greater than other people have, or lesser, but they're distinctively who I am. So equality is an absurd concept.
The patriarchy is natural. Hierarchy is natural.
So yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, red pill does lead to a belief in patriarchy. Because you cannot escape the understanding that women left to themselves don't really make good choices.
Okay, Steve, I got a question for you. If you're attacking the red pill, because you said that, okay, you can't be a feminist and be in the red pill. And I agree with that. But, and I think this question has an obvious answer, but what is the probability that if you are attacking the red pill, that you are a feminist at some level?
Experience tells me it's pretty high probability that they are a feminist. I think a lot of the men attacking the red pill are egalitarian. Now, I can think of a couple exceptions. So this is not universal. Absolutely not. And you know what? I'm going to even name names where I'm saying this specifically is not true. Andrew Wilson has some problems with the red pill. He's red pill adjacent. No, he's not a feminist. Nope. And
Fair
Grid
enough.
One. Grid One also is not a feminist. Now, they have some problems with the red pill, and I disagree with them. But at the same time, okay, so I've pointed out two exceptions. But Trent Horn, okay, well, yeah, he's been called a feminist. He's egalitarian. That's feminist philosophy.
Yep.
So it's hard to know how many.
A lot of the Christ pillars
lot.
are somewhat. They're generally patriarchal, but they have this conception of red pill bad.
Well, and I know we're wrapping up, but this is something that I want to dive into. Are all people attacking the red pill feminist? No. But I think that all people alive today are subject to feminist programming without realizing it. And that includes the three of us talking to you today. And so I don't think that, yeah, Colonel, man bad, red pill bad. I think that we are in a place where even if you're not a feminist, you don't understand just how feminist maybe you understand, but you don't even realize how steeped you are in the feminism.
Yeah.
But I want to try and avoid a no true Scotsman fallacy here because those are terrible things. But because I'm thinking of here about a trend we've seen in the YouTubeverse where people who are claiming that they're not feminists are attacking the red pill. And it's almost like in order to attack the red pill, you need to have this, well, but I'm not a feminist. I'm thinking about the Daily Wire bullshit that happened back in February and March, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're not feminists. These red pillers.
All the while they're attacking the red pill, they're talking feminist talking points and defending the women against these evil red pill. Why the fuck are you defending the women and using all these feminist talking points if you're not a feminist?
And another point that I wanted to make was that if you're attacking the red pill and you're a feminist like the Daily Wire, which I am going to call them feminists, why do they come at the red pill so hard? What they come at it with a vengeance that I'm not even sure your average feminist comes at. So what is it about the red pill that drives these quote unquote anti-feminists into a blind rage? And I think it's a combination of culture, the ingrained cultural feminism, but also a lot of what, you know, Steve was talking about here, that they're absolutely terrified of understanding the true nature of women.
You know,
So it's
you
not
can love,
not very pretty all the time.
you can love the true nature of women. You really can. Once you understand it. Oh, okay. God created them this way. Well, I wouldn't have done that. Oh, okay, so I didn't create women. They were created this way. So once you understand that, well, what choice do I have except to love them as they are? Isn't that a Christian thing to love them as they are? You don't have to love the behavior, but you got to realize, okay, you have to do your role. A father has to do his role in raising his daughter. And, you know, society has been so such that a father really can't do that role. So you wonder why women are so wild now. Well, you remove the fathers, this is what you get. So, okay, but this nature was always present in all women, even your grandmother. There were boundaries and you know there were societal rules and the structure of the family that kept it in check. But the nature of women is not changed. The behavior may have gotten a lot worse. So, yeah, you can still understand a woman's nature and you can still love a woman. But you have to give up the blind trust and the false belief that they're really innocent.
But Steve,
Because guess what? What does the Bible say? Is it just men, just the male that have fallen short, fallen short of the glory of God?
No,
Or
isn't
is it?
that word all?
Yeah,
for all have fallen short. I grew up with that
yeah,
one too. For all have
yeah.
fallen short. Sorry, women have fallen short too. And I suspect that this is the problem that the Daily Wire has with the red pill. The red pill, out of all of the choices you have on the internet, is the only one that acknowledges that women have fallen short. And the Daily Wire can't handle that. They desperately need to hold women up on their pedestal. And so when Daily Wire comes out and does what they do and then tries to claim to be anti-feminist, I just laugh now because what they are doing is so obviously feminist and they can't see it. And they are leading men down a path of destruction for their own. Well, they have two concomitant sins. They have the sin of arrogance, and then and because of that sin of arrogance, they are using their authority to falsely prophesy. Sorry, not a fan of the Daily Wire over here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think if we shut it down now, we'll be under 2 hours.
Just
Hey guys, please like and subscribe to the Resurgence of Sanity.
and guys, if this video helped you understand a little bit more about what the red pill is really all about, why we haven't given up on it, so to speak, please share this with your friends.
Hey, and you know what? We like to know that we're appreciated. You know, we get not a lot of views yet. I'm not sure we ever will. But if you appreciate our stream, yeah, I'm glad the people participate in the chat. But leave us a comment.
Hey, what are we doing next week, guys?
Oh my goodness. Monday.
Mon-
What are we doing on
Yeah.
Monday? Well, Monday is going to actually be a bit of a continuation of this, but we are going to be looking at it's going to be much more practical, sort of looking at what's happening in the red pill space today. I'm sure many of you have noticed that there is all-out warfare going on, and we need to dissect that. We need to really, I think, look at how both sides of this war are missing the damn point, and because they don't understand what the red pill is. That's why we did tonight first. So on Monday we're going to address so we've talked about the red pill. Now we're going to address the anti-red pill movement that appears to have totally organically sprung up over the past 3 months. Yes. Hint, hint. But there is a fundamental flaw in the anti-RP argument, and that flaw has its basis in what we have discussed tonight. So it's going to be another long one. I'll be leading it, and I'm probably going to end up pulling the Daily Wire into it because honestly, fuck those guys. So I couldn't help bringing it up tonight. But yeah, and I think if you go back and watch our misdirection episode from this past Monday, I said kind of the key point that I think we're going to try and get to, which is stop it, everyone. Stay on target and just stop shooting at each other.
Stay on target. Stay.
So, Nick, you're up for next Wednesday, right?
Yeah. I got a few things I'm kicking around. Haven't quite decided on it yet, but I'm still kicking some things around. It'll be interesting though.
All right. Well, we will let you all know what Wednesday will be when on Monday, and
Yep.
Nick will have something for us then.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Monday is going to be a hard one. That even planning for that one has been pulling teeth because I've had to sit down and attack my own argument. So.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Please like and subscribe. You all have a good night.
Yeah. See you later.
Later.
Bye.